Hello and welcome to the Work for Change podcast. It's your host, boy Jean, spelled like Jean.
And your girl, Sam.
Yeah, what episode are we on?
Episode 119, baby.
But this is a special episode because it's the first one.
With another co-host.
No, that's not where I was going. I was going to say it's the first one that you and I have done alone.
Oh, but then I'm thinking, have we before?
I don't think so. Have we?
I don't know.
I have no clue.
But let's just say this.
Let's just say it's the first one we're doing alone. But we also have a co-host. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So we have fourth. John David's not here. A fourth co-host today, and it's baby Ryan.
Yeah, we had a baby. And she's 2 weeks old today.
And she's sitting right by us.
She's on the floor. She was just fussing right beforehand. And
she's not on the floor. She's in her little bouncer.
She's laying on the floor, and she was just fussing beforehand. We tried to feed her twice, so we'll see. She didn't really seem that interested in eating, so we'll see how long we can go before she decides now it's time, because we are on borrowed time.
Yep.
All of our little moments of freedom are on borrowed time, depending on when Ryan decides that she wants nom-noms.
But she seems to be chilling right now.
So today, the format of today's podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about the pregnancy, the birthing experience, and then the second half will kind of be just answering some questions that we had. We'll keep it short and sweet for two reasons. One, not everyone wants to hear about birth, and I understand. And two, we're working on borrowed time here with a little fussy girl. So yeah, let's jump right into episode 119. Okay, Sam.
Yes.
So, tell me about your birthing experience.
You weren't there?
As if I was someone who was not there.
Well, we also have a fifth co-host, and it's Bailey, if you heard her.
Yeah, so Bailey's back.
So, for those of you who don't know, I have type 1 diabetes. It'd be shocking if you don't know, because that's all I talk about. So, they were planning on most diabetics have to be induced by 39 weeks. So I had to go to the doctor multiple times a week, and they were like, okay, at 39 weeks, you're going into the hospital and you're going to be induced. And so I was like, okay. So it was planned for Sunday, March 28th, 11 p.m. We'd go into the hospital and start the induction process. So that Saturday, I did my last workout. It was so much fun. Sunday, we went out to dinner with our friends.
Yeah, I mean, you worked out consistently throughout the entire pregnancy.
Yeah. So
more consistently than me.
Yeah. My goal was work out 4 times a week, and I worked out like 4 to 5 times a week.
Nice.
So thankfully, even in the beginning, I felt good enough to do that. So anyway, I think it really helped, as you'll hear. Mm-hmm. So that Sunday was super fun. That Saturday we went out too. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
we just kind of lived up our last weekends as non-parents.
It was fun. And then so Sunday, 11 p.m., we drive to the hospital, we get checked in, and at 1 a.m. they started the induction process. And so I kind of was familiar with what they would do, but I didn't know how it would go. I've never had a baby before.
Yeah, because there's a couple different ways that there's multiple medicines and multiple things that they can do to start the induction process.
Yeah. So they first gave me my first dose of medicine, which was Cytotec. And they placed it in, and then it was 1 a.m., so they were like, okay, try to go to sleep. So you had to lay flat for an hour, and then I could move around. So we tried to sleep, and Jean had a little, bench seat.
Yeah. Little bench seat that converted into a bed, and it was not the most comfortable bed you've ever slept on.
Yeah, and so then they came back at 5 a.m. and gave me another dose. And this is supposed to just, get your body ready. And so they do that, go back to sleep, wake up a little bit. I can go for a walk. They give me a third dose at 9 a.m. Then that's when the contractions started happening, right? And so I was like, oh, I don't know what this feeling is. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, you're having contractions. That's good. And so I was like, oh, okay. So they said I was contracting so much that they couldn't give me a third dose of medicine. So I was like, okay, that sounds like a good thing. Mm-hmm. But I was only 1.5 centimeters dilated. Yeah. And that's what I was when I came in. So they were like, yeah, so we're going to insert a Foley bulb. I'm giving you all the details, okay? So they were like, we're going to insert a Foley bulb. And so they insert like this thing and they blow it up.
Yeah, so it's like a
balloon.
It's a balloon that they put against your cervix.
Yeah.
And by the balloon expanding, they hope it'll open up the cervix a little bit.
Yeah. And so that was so...
From what I understand.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You were a nurse there. So.
I was trying very hard.
So that was so uncomfortable. And then I was like, why? They're like, it shouldn't be uncomfortable. And they say a lot of people will have that inserted and they'll have it sent home. And I was like, what? Like, I would hate that. And so they're like, yeah, it shouldn't really be uncomfortable right now. And so they're like, do you want fentanyl? And I was like, I don't know what fentanyl is. I don't feel comfortable with that. And they were like, yeah, it's kind of like taking a couple shots of tequila. And so I was like, oh, well, bring it on. So they gave me that, felt a little bit better, and then I just chilled, and I just laid there. And so all of a sudden, it was like a couple hours later, literally just laying there, you know? And I called the nurse in, and I was like, I feel a lot of pressure. And they were like, no, the bulb hasn't fallen out yet. And then all of a sudden, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
It's like a cartoon character on like a high wire, and like whoa, 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 whoa.
That's literally what I said.
The wee wah 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 wah.
Were you awake when that happened?
I don't think so.
It's like whoa. Anyway, and then it fell out, and then my water broke.
On my perspective, it was really weird because like when you're in the hospital, it's like time doesn't like day or night. All that stuff
I don't even know what time it was.
And the nurses are on 12-hour shifts or whatever, so you see them at 7 a.m. and then you see him again at 5 p.m. and then you see him again at your new nurse who comes in at like 7:30 p.m. and they're like, all right, here I am, and then they come in at 1 a.m. and then they like so it's
and
like
we got really attached to each nurse, and then they would leave and we'd get really sad.
But like, so I'd be like sleeping on this miniature little bench thing, and I'd wake up and they're like doing some work on you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, go back to sleep. I wake up and nothing, and I'll go to sleep and I wake up and there's a new nurse and she's doing some other work on you. And it was like, just like really like kind of like what you see in like a movie when someone's kind of out of a coma and they wake up and there's like weird things happening every couple. Like that's what it felt like.
I know. I was hooked up to everything because I had like something hooked up to my belly to measure baby's heartbeat. Another thing to measure my contractions. I had an IV hooked up into my hand, and I was just like on all these things.
Yeah.
So then after that, my water broke, and they're like, "Yay, you're 6 centimeters. We're gonna start you on a low dose of Pitocin." So I was like, "Okay." So basically, just chilling there. And then for all those who watched Bridgerton, great show. Season 2 is coming out. So we were watching that in the hospital, and I was like, I can't focus. Like, I'm in pain. And I just started like feeling like a lot of pain from the contractions. And then Jean was like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you feel? And I was like, I don't know, like an 8. It was really like a 9. I like to say I have a high tolerance of pain, and I get mad when people laugh when I say that.
Like your mom.
Yes. No, she knows I have a high tolerance of pain. But I don't think I could have been a 10. I think you could always be in more pain. But it was like the most pain I've ever been in. And so Jean was like, do you want an epidural? And I was like kind of holding off just because you can't walk after you get it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was kind of nervous, and I saw the TikTok.
Well, the way they described it was like, once you get an epidural, you can't go to the bathroom.
Oh,
like, they didn't say anything about a catheter or whatever. They were just like...
Oh, I knew that, though.
I didn't.
Oh.
I was just like, wow, so yeah, we better do it at the last possible second so that you don't end up peeing your pants or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew about the catheter. Yeah. That's why I was nervous too. And then I saw a TikTok video of them, like these doctors showing the needle size, and that was a big mistake I did beforehand. Anyway, so the nurse came in.
The needle size of the epidural pen?
Yeah. And so the nurse came in, and I couldn't even get the words out, and Jean's like, she wants an epidural. And they're like, okay, we'll bring in the anesthesiologist. So the guy comes in. And by this time, this is the most pain I've ever been in. He comes in, they like sit me up. They made Jean sit in a closet. Yeah.
Because we found out later that people have like husbands who have like watched the needle go in have like fainted, and one guy hit his head on the ground. They ended up suing the hospital and stuff. So now they don't.
Oh, they sued the hospital.
Yeah. So now they don't let the guy like watch it happen. So they shut me in a corner.
That.
Yeah, I know.
Just kidding. So the anesthesiologist was really cool, was playing music. The nurse was holding my hand. She was great. We missed her when she left. And they inserted it, and he was like, okay, you'll probably feel like a weird feeling. And so I was like, okay. And it felt like the coldest cup of water was poured on my back, and then my legs went numb. It was so weird. And then I was like, wow, you are my hero to the anesthesiologist. And so then basically I'm just chilling. Watched Bridgerton, had a great time. Like I was straight chilling, not in any pain at all. So then I go back to sleep, in and out of sleep again, like the whole coma thing. And then I started feeling like a pain again. And I was like, I thought I shouldn't feel pain because I have an epidural. And so I told the nurse, I was like, it feels like, because they put a catheter in, which I wish I could have one every day since I pee so much.
Seriously.
They're pretty handy. Anyway, so it felt like the catheter is coming out. And so I told the nurse, I was like, is that normal? Like, is it coming out? And she's like, no. And she like was feeling around, and she's like, the baby turned. And so she was laying on a weird position, and it like was causing pain. And it was so much pain. And all I just remember, I think I like blacked out a little. I just remember like moaning and groaning. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh.
I remember them saying all that stuff, but I don't.
I just think I was like rolling around and like pain.
There's a lot of moaning and groaning going on, so that specific moaning and groaning doesn't stand out to me.
Oh, I don't know. I think I blacked out a little. And then they're like, okay, we're going to bring the anesthesiologist. Remember, this is hours going by.
Yeah.
We're going to bring the anesthesiologist back, and we are going to...
Sorry, Ryan makes so many faces. So, keep going.
Okay. And he gave me like another dose of epidural. And so then I'm feeling great again. And they checked, and I was 9.5 centimeters. So they're like, okay, you're almost there. We just need 0.5 centimeter. And this was like hours that go by that I'm standing at like 9.5. And they put me in like all these weird positions to try to like get that 0.5 centimeter, you know? And so finally the nurse is like, okay, well, do you want to do a few practice pushes? And I was like, no, I need you to walk me through it, like a tutorial on what to do. I've never done this before. And they did. And then, so then I just started pushing, and Jean was like a nurse. He was like holding my legs and like counting down and watching the contraction machine. He was like looking at the nurse.
Yeah, I was like looking at, so like we said, the nurses switch every 12 hours.
Yeah.
And so.
From 7 to 7.
7 to 7. And Ryan was born at 7:16 in the morning. So that means she was born in the middle of a shift change. And the nurses, the nurses who were working already were in there, and the new nurses who were going to take over were in there. And then it was also at the same time as a doctor shift, which I don't know if doctors work the same 12 to 12 or 12-hour shifts.
I think so.
But the doctor was like, all right, so the doctor we had for the past 12 hours had informed the next doctor everything that you need to know, that you're diabetic, that you want to take care of your own diabetes or insulin, that you want to do all that stuff. That doctor who was supposed to come in got a call to do something else. And so then it was another doctor who came in. She's like, just so you know, I'm the second doctor on call. I don't know your story. I don't know anything. Let's push this baby out.
Yeah, I think the baby was coming out as she was putting her gloves on.
Yeah. And so she's like asking you all these questions, like, where's your insulin? Where's this? Talking to the nurses, trying to figure things out. The nurses are all talking to each other. And
I had to pause and be like, excuse me, what do you want me to do right now?
While your like legs are straddled. So it was very, interesting. That 7 o'clock was a very interesting time to have her born. But pretty quickly, you're pushing and
like the nurses are like, oh, you are doing such a great job. You are a natural at pushing. Wow. Like, you are doing so good. And I was thinking in my head, like, you say this to everyone, okay? Like, let's knock it off, and I'm going to be here for a while, okay?
Yeah. And so, like, during all that changing, I'm holding her hand, holding a leg up, looking at you in the eyes, like, all right, time to push, counting down to 10 for the push, because they wanted to do 3 sets of 10 seconds pushing. And so I'm counting down to 10, like 10, 9, and like it's kind of like if you were to imagine, how would you describe the pushing feeling? Because some people say it's kind of like you're taking a poo.
Yeah, it just felt really weird. It just, they were counting down from 10, and you were counting down from 10.
Yeah.
And it's like you're holding your breath, kind of. And I'm not really good at holding my breath, so that was like really hard.
Yeah, and so then like you're pushing and they're not really explaining that much. They're just saying, keep pushing. You're doing so great. Keep pushing.
Yeah.
And then, so then I'm just like, I can see her hair.
Yeah. Jean's like, she has so much hair. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
So then I just pushed that baby.
Yeah. And then it was like 2 pushes after that. But like, I don't know, like from the guy's perspective, you hear all these like horror stories of like fainting or feeling gross or like it's, you know, it's machismo type of talk, but they're like, oh, I don't want that image in my head. I want, you know, like they're just dumb. Guys are dumb.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, I absolutely want to see. I didn't think I would, but
I didn't think you would
absolutely
either.
did want to see Ryan born. And so I'm like holding your hand, talking you through it, seeing everything happen. Once her head pops out, it's just like, holy moly. And the doctor just starts grabbing and like bringing her out. She's like, you don't need to push anymore. You did great. And cut the umbilical cord. Wasn't expecting that either. She just handed me the scissors.
Yeah,
like,
that was so
okay,
funny.
here we go. I'm doing this. At one point she asked me, she's like, do you want to sit down? And I was like, no, like, I feel fine. Like, if you want me to sit down and get out of the way, that's cool. But like, I feel great right now. Like, I'm not queasy or lightheaded or anything.
You were the head nurse.
I know. Yeah. I had to count everything down for you. And so it was cool. I mean, it was a really, really, really cool experience. And then they immediately put you on your belly.
Yeah.
They put her on your belly.
They put Ryan on my belly, and they kept trying to like move her to my chest, and then the doctor kept moving her down. So I was like, and the doctor was like, she has a short umbilical cord. Quit doing that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird.
Yeah. So then I cut the cord, and little Ryan was on your chest, and she didn't cry that much. She hasn't really been that cryy of a baby, fussy of a baby.
Nope. And
right now she's kind of in the mid-awake, mid-asleep, and so I think she wants nom soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean.
And then like, so my water broke like a few different times. And I spiked a fever like right as I was delivering her. And so they had to treat me with antibiotics. So that immediately put us on a 48-hour watch. And we had to stay at the hospital for 2 extra nights.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
But everything was fine. Like, I just spiked a fever and they had to treat me. It was like an infection. But everything was fine.
Yeah, and then that was the week of Easter, right? And so I work at my church, and Easter's I'm the creative arts guy, creating graphics and videos and all that stuff.
Live stream.
Yeah, and so it's like getting all that set up while being at the hospital, taking Zoom calls and stuff from the hospital, just for that week. As soon as Easter came and went, I'm in the middle of a 2-week break, so paternity leave. But yeah, that's been nice, but it was interesting. And what I'm realizing, and like, as we pacify our baby, well, this segment will end shortly. We'll take a short break and then we'll go into a Q&A. So Ryan can take a nap. But, what I realized is like at every second or at every spot in the birthing process and even the pregnancy process, all you hear is horror stories, right? Like, so when you were pregnant, your first trimester was not the worst, you know, at all.
Like, I'd never got, what's called morning sickness.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like hungover for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But like, I'm used to that.
And so it's like, you don't want to go out and be like, everything's great.
Yeah.
Because then all you hear is horror stories of people who had a terrible first trimester.
Yeah.
Second trimester is like the golden trimester. Everyone always talks about you feel great, you're more flexible, you're stronger, you're all this stuff. You had a great second trimester, hitting PRs on your lifts and all that stuff, still working out. Third trimester, people start saying it gets hard, your back starts hurting, all this stuff. But your third trimester, you're still working out, still doing all that stuff. The birthing process, I mean, you check in and you were able to manage your diabetes well during the entire pregnancy, so they trusted you to do it during the birthing experience.
That was a big thing I wanted to do.
And then, like, even talking to people about when you had your epidural or all this stuff, like, all you hear is people go, oh, well, you know, don't say that too much because other people had terrible experiences.
Yeah.
And one of our friends came over and she was talking about, she's had 3 epidurals and all of them have been miserable.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it's so weird, like, I don't know, like, there's room for someone to be annoyed or mad at every stage, you know, because now, like, Ryan's just a great baby. Like, she sleeps through the night. We have to wake her up to feed her.
And it's so hard to wake her up.
And it's so hard to wake her up. Because, I mean, we were working out with her when she was in the womb. We were doing all that stuff. Just being loud. We're still loud when she's taking naps or where we work out. Her bedroom is right above the garage. So you hear all the garage gym stuff. So it's like, we've never like been like, shh, baby. So she just sleeps. The dog barking a couple times, she'll sleep right through it. And it's like, we have to like work to wake her up. Like, take her clothes off, change her diaper, get some wind on her. Like, it takes a lot to get her to like finally start waking up. So again, there isn't room for people to kind of be like, oh, how dare you?
I know.
Don't tell people that are at 2 weeks in, our baby's sleeping through the night, except for when we wake her up. Like,
well, even when I first got pregnant and like I would hear horror stories like morning sickness, like couldn't work out, like all this stuff. Like, I didn't want to say anything, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I feel bad.
Yeah.
You know? And so, but then, like, all you do is hear our horror stories, and I would, like, freak myself out in every single stage. The first trimester, I would freak myself out. Second trimester, third, now, like, everything. I would get freaked out by all these stories. And so I was like, I want to share my story because
it's not as bad as... Yeah.
People should have encouraging stories to hear too.
Yeah.
And then I just keep saying, wow, I'm so thankful that, you know, I was able to work out consistently, or I didn't feel that bad, blah, blah. But then at the same time, I worked really hard to make sure that happened. You know, like if I wasn't able to work out, if I didn't feel good, like I gave myself grace during those moments, you know, and so I really focused on my diabetes, and she's crying.
She's crying. She wants some food.
I focused on like my diabetes and eating well, like, and obviously if I didn't feel like eating a salad, you know, and I was like, I just want carbs. Well, that's what my body needed.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll answer your questions when we come back.
And we're back.
Seconds for you. Many adventures for us. But we've switched from a bouncer to a swing. Fed.
Twice.
Yeah.
Got a refill on coffee for us.
Yeah. We might be there. Trying to do a podcast while parenting a baby is no small feat, which is why it took us so long to get this episode out. But here we are. So, like I said, the second half, what I wanted to do was kind of go through some questions on our Instagram page. What did we say?
That we'd be talking about baby and birth and parenthood, and if you guys had any questions.
Yeah, so we put that on our Instagram, and we got a couple questions. So we just figured for the second half, we can just kind of answer exactly the questions that were presented and see where the conversation goes from there.
Well, the first question's for you.
Okay, what is it?
How much more do you love your wife?
Did you put that in?
Yes. Well, do you?
Next question.
Okay, it is, what's one thing so far someone never told you about being a dad?
About being a dad?
Yeah.
I don't know. You. What's one thing no one told you about being a dad?
I just didn't know I could be a dad.
One thing no one told me about being a dad, how much fun you'd have changing diapers, because it is like you're feeding her, you get all this snuggle time afterwards, you do all this stuff. So there's not a lot of time in, like, I snuggle her and all that stuff. A lot of times she's just asleep. I try to take her from you when she's awake as much as I can.
Yeah.
But
the rare moments.
Yeah, even though she's crying and she's frustrated, it's still like our time. Like when I change the diaper, it's like you'll change the diaper, but I do it most often. And it's a nice way to hang out with baby, but it's also a way to like serve you, because you're waking up, you're doing all that stuff to feed her. So it's like if you can have like 5 minutes where you kind of get ready, get your boppy, whatever, while I'm changing the diaper, it's kind of like a nice way where it's like, okay, I'm here, I'm serving my wife by doing this, and it's also some time where I get to hang out with my baby. And so I think just the quality time that is changing diapers, no one told me about. That's what I would
And
say.
I appreciate it. And I think Ryan does too.
Yeah, I'm sure. I've become quite a pro.
Yeah.
I'd never changed a diaper before that.
I know. You are like so good.
Yeah.
I've had a couple poop disasters.
Yeah, you have.
And
those were all times when I was out of the house.
I know. But every time Jean changes her diaper, they don't seem to happen. He catches the projectiles.
Yeah, I catch him.
I'm like, ah!
I've got like a method.
I know.
And
I'm like, what's happened?
You do the whole put the diaper under, take it off, let the air touch the private parts for a little bit, and then you cover it and you just wait.
Because then she likes to pee in the fresh air.
She kind of gets quiet, and then it's like that's when typically the projectile comes or the pee. And so it's still under her, so you're good. You got that going. And then once you do that, you do a couple wipes, whoosh, 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 and then that new diaper is under her still. So then what you do is you lift up her legs, you take the old diaper, plop her down, and then right on the new diaper. And just in case it was super bad, then you had another diaper there to catch it.
Yeah.
You didn't get everything dirty, and if you need to switch, then you can. But then otherwise, you plop her back down, boom, 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 put her on, and then it's just a couple minutes of snuggling.
How many loads of baby laundry have we done in 2 weeks?
A lot. Speaking of, the diaper pail's full again.
What? They just changed it.
Yeah. So we got to take that one out too.
Okay. Next question is, what is it like to work out after having a baby?
That does not belong to me. That question doesn't go to me.
She's 2 weeks old today, and I have not worked out yet. And I cried the other day when John was telling me about his workout.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, there's been 2 weeks and like 2 days since I did my last workout. That is the longest I've gone without working out since I started working out.
Mm-hmm.
And they say 6 weeks. And I even emailed my doctor yesterday saying, I'm feeling really good. Like, I'm down to work out, blah, blah. And then a nurse called me and said, give it to 4 weeks if I'm still feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, but you can start walking. And I'm like, yeah, I've been walking a lot.
Yeah. We went on a walk the day you came home.
But I don't know if this is controversial, but I'm going to do a little bit of moving today.
Mm-hmm.
Take it easy. I'm still recovering, but just get my body moving and grooving.
Yeah.
But I will report back when I start, lifting and stuff again.
Yeah.
Which I'm so excited for.
I know for me it was like yesterday when I was doing a workout, I just kind of wanted to quit.
You did?
Not during the workout, but like during the accessory part. I'm like, I don't have to finish this. Like, it's just accessory work. I don't really care. And it was like kind of the idea of like, am I going to teach Brian, our daughter, like, I'm going to teach her to finish what she started. Mm-hmm. And so if I am regularly quitting workouts or not doing the accessory work or the extra work or whatever, even if I said I was going to, it's like I'm going to be someone who is determined to finish what I started, so that my daughter will be someone who finishes what she started. And so it's like that idea of like lead from the front. Don't just tell them what to do and hope they do it, but tell them what to do and then let them see you do it. Mm-hmm. Little stuff like that. Like while I was in the middle of a workout, like perspectives that I didn't have before. Then now that I have a daughter, it's like
I like that
on the forefront of my mind. Yeah, little things like that.
Well, I'm just so excited to work out because it's summertime and I want to look good.
Yeah.
But also, it's like I'm starting from the beginning again, I feel like. I get to show her to be healthy.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Strong
can look,
mama.
you want to look good, but it's most about feeling good and being there to be healthy for your family, which I'm excited for.
Heck yeah. Next question.
I just want to get some PRs again,
Yeah.
Okay, next question is how to stay on meal plan with pregnant wife and her cravings. Trying to be supportive.
Mm-hmm. You don't. You don't.
I will say I didn't really have a ton of cravings.
Yeah, I mean you didn't have weird cravings, but you had cravings.
Yeah, like
we had
Chick-fil-A once a week.
You wanted takeout food a lot more than normal.
Well, I think that was because I was tired.
Burritos. You have to push it.
Oh.
You'd want burritos. You'd want Chick-fil-A. You'd want like things that like.
We had Chick-fil-A once a week.
Yeah.
And I want to continue.
Sure you do.
But I think part of that is because I was tired to cook.
Yeah.
Like being tired was the one thing that consistently has stayed.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know. I have never been. I'm not the most like consistent on food discipline or dietary restrictions or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I wasn't too stressed about it because it's 9 months, right? Like you're pregnant for 9 months and then we have a child. And so it's like, it's not like, all right, well, these are the habits that we're establishing with the rest of our life. It's like, we're getting through this pregnancy. And then once pregnancy is over, yeah, we'll have a baby, but we'll find out what our new normal is in that once that happens. And so it's like, your pregnancy is not the rest of your life. And so if your wife's craving some things, like, have it with her, enjoy being pregnant with her.
Yeah. And also, I didn't really change how I ate. Like,
we just said you did.
I'm saying like the majority.
Yeah.
Like I still had oatmeal or a protein shake for breakfast. I always did that. Or lunch. Like it was still the same kind of things. Maybe I increased the calories towards the end a little bit, and then I would have like more out meals than we usually do. Because we don't really eat out too often, but we did a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would just say support her. It's 9 months, and then, you go from there. But I wouldn't stress out too much about it. I mean, don't go, like I said, like we kept most of what we ate consistent. It wasn't like we went, oh, great.
Now we can go ham on everything.
Yeah, we just stayed as consistent as we could and then had grace for when we weren't.
Yeah. Like, usually my Chick-fil-A order is the grilled chicken nuggets, and I put it in a salad. And then I would just get a spicy chicken sandwich now.
Yeah.
Which
the holy.
I don't think I want to change that.
Yeah,
so good.
Spicy chicken is amazing.
I know. Shout out to Chick-fil-A. Okay.
Next question.
Someone said effective home workout.
I would just say put a clock and decide to do a certain amount of things every minute on the minute. Probably the most efficient way to.
What, Imam?
Yeah, that's probably the most efficient way. With whatever you have, do you have a dumbbell? Cool. Do a certain amount of movements every time, every minute. Do you have a dumbbell and a object you can jump over? Great. Do every other Imam where it's you do dumbbell thrusters and then burpees over the object or whatever. Like, just make it so that it's like so easy and so you don't have to think about it. You just set the clock and go. I would say that's probably the most effective for a home workout.
I agree.
We also have spent a considerable amount of time and energy on developing our home gym so that we do kind of have a home workout for us is going to look different than a home workout for a lot of other people because we did spend the energy and time and space and whatever to get squat racks and barbells.
But before we had all that stuff, we would still do Imam.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like,
and we would die.
Yeah, Imam, like home gym workouts now for us are very different than at home workouts for us a year ago. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't even have anything. We had to borrow.
We borrowed stuff.
We borrowed dumbbells and a wall ball from our gym.
Mm-hmm.
And that's.
But shout out to Big Mike. He bought you a box for your birthday.
For my birthday. So by this time last year, we had a box.
Yeah.
That we still have, use.
Love that box.
It's a good box.
Yeah, it's a nice box.
Next question. What? No more questions? I thought you said there were more than that.
Well, a lot of people just say anything. They're so excited.
Yeah, so that's been. I was expecting more questions. Not like neither good nor bad. Just
a lot of people were like, I can't think of anything specific, but they're excited to listen.
Yeah.
Or share anything. They're excited.
I know. I will say that like during this time, a couple months ago we signed up for street parking, and that's been nice to have scheduled workouts at home that I can just be like, all right, here's what I'm doing. Like put it on the calendar and then go for it. And then they're very big on. There's a lot of stay-at-home moms who do it. So they have a lot of what they call mama modifications. And so I know that once you are in the clear to start working out again, that'll probably be a strong direction we go towards is having those mama modifications, doing those workouts together. For me, it's just about scheduling my day out to be the most efficient. If I feel like I have a whole bunch of days where nothing is scheduled and it's all whatever, I start getting antsy.
Well, we love our plans. We love our day plans. We love our week plans.
I know, but when I feel like it hasn't been scheduled out, even if it's things that we're going to do, but it's not scheduled out for me, I'm just like, start getting antsy.
Oh, so I don't get antsy, but I like it.
Seeing it on the schedule for me is like nice. So even in days where it's like the monotony is crazy, like if you just write down, okay, well, dinner's at this time and lunch is at this time and workout is at this time and then blah, blah is at this time, at least you feel like you're going through things instead of just like, it's like a long wash of a day.
Well, that's what they say. Like, you schedule working out at a certain time. Like, you wouldn't miss a meeting. You're not going to miss your workout.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know, like, for me in this time, like, if people are staying at home, whether on maternity leave, paternity leave, stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, or whatever, and you're, like, wondering about how do you, like, stay, or you're in between jobs or whatever, and you're just at home.
Yeah.
And, like, how do you stay consistent with it? It's, like, for me, it's, like, writing it on the schedule, we work out, we live with our brother lives with us. And so it's like, we both use the home gym. We both do all that stuff. So being like, hey, tomorrow from 6:30 to 8, I'm in the gym. That's like, well, I told him that's when I'm going to be in there. If he shows up at 8:05 wanting to work out and I'm still working out, it's like, well, that's on me because I said I'm going to be there from 6:30 to 8. So I better get everything I want to get done during that time, And it becomes a lot more of like a check for me to like, here's what I said, here's what I have to do. This is when it works out in my day. And I know that that's been super good for me. What are things that you thought would happen during maternity leave that haven't happened?
That haven't happened?
So far, 2 weeks in.
Well, I have a huge list of things I want to do. Well, I haven't gotten to any of them yet.
Yeah.
But it's only been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I feel like the scheduling thing, I feel like being a mom is usually just trying to schedule everything in your day around her.
Feeding, yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing they didn't tell me is how much babies eat.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, babies, all they do is eat, sleep, and poop. That's true.
Yeah.
But, man.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really do anything while they're eating.
And she's like cluster feeding right now. So what that means is that she's kind of small for a baby.
Yeah.
But what she'll do is
she was 6'2" when she was born.
Yeah. So what she'll do is she'll have a couple days where it's like, all right, I want to eat every hour now.
Yeah.
Where it's like some typical routine is 3 hours.
Yeah.
She just goes, no, I want to eat every hour. So then it's like trying to like.
And it takes a while.
It's probably 20 minutes.
20, 30 minutes.
So then it's like trying to like figure out what you can do in that time in between her being fed. Like that's what happened right now with the podcast. We fed her right before. Tried to feed her twice. She ate a little bit. And then right when we started, she was like, all right, it's time. So we had to stop for a little bit. And so it's like just figuring out what to do in between those for sure.
Yeah. And it's really easy to be like, man, I can't wait till she's older and this is gone, like she isn't done doing this, Then I'm like, no, I want to like enjoy these little moments, you know? So it's like, try to balancing that while also be like, oh, I need to do the dishes and I need to like do all these things.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I'd have more time to read.
I know. I bought a book.
Yeah.
I haven't even opened it.
Yeah, I thought I'd have more time to read, and I just have not.
And I was like, ooh, I'm going to buy a book so I can read it for when I'm hanging out with the baby.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
And then at work, I've been off for 2 weeks, which I'm go back next week, and I'm kind of sad about. But I'm excited to get back to work. But
yeah.
They were like, hey, like, for the online service, can you record a song? And they asked me like 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, oh, yeah, fine. I'll have 2 weeks to record it. And it's like down to the last wire. I have to like record it today and give it to them by tomorrow. And so it's like stuff I thought like, oh, I definitely have time to practice and do all that. But it's like, just really haven't. I'm just going to be doing it.
But it's like, we never done this before.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely been interesting. Been an adjustment, but it's good. Yeah. I wouldn't. I don't know. It's kind of like the whole thing. Like, well, the trade-off is to not have her and have all of our free time.
No.
Exactly. What I mean?
Sad.
It's like, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
All the craziness and all that stuff. And the fact that she's finally sleeping right now. It's like for 5 minutes probably.
But she's like so peaceful.
Yeah. It's definitely worth it. And it changes things. Like I'm definitely like way more. There was a time, like, she had to get a lot of blood drawn at the hospital, just for a couple of reasons. And one of them was totally unannounced and totally, like, barged in on us, and we weren't expecting it. And I was a lot more like, no, this isn't happening. Like, bring our nurse in, tell us why this is happening, you know. And it was like a mistake they made. So that means she had to get her blood drawn again. And it's like this, she's got all these little marks on her foot from where they like a lot of marks on her foot. And so I was just like, kind of like, no, this is ridiculous. Like, you know, and where I'm typically I'm a much more like chill, go with the flow, whatever.
Like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, this one was like, no, like I need to know why this is happening. And so it's like, I can definitely see that happening within, for myself, I'm just kind of like, yeah. But like now that like when it comes down to like my daughter, it's like, no, like let's, you know, I'm a lot more protective, a lot more. So I definitely noticed that change as well.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we answered any questions you have. If you have any other questions, just shoot us a DM.
Yeah.
We're super approachable.
Yeah.
We're not
I'll answer.
Yeah, it's not like this is the last time you'll ever hear about our baby.
It'll give me something to do when I'm feeding her.
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll be back to regular scheduled podcasts soon enough. Imagine next week, probably.
Yeah.
But until then, we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.